Alright guys, Demon Pyro back. I had somebody request a video about wiring talons parallel, which basically parallel just means 3 talons in the same queue. So I set up a little demo here. These are just all leftover empty lock and load mortars and a couple double brakes, just for demo purposes. I'm not going to actually light anything off. So anyways, what I've got here is just a setup here. I got some talons kind of taped down on some foil tape. I've got a number 1 here that I have plugged into just the number 1 queue. I have a burnt talon here that I just snipped the end off of it just to show you that it's not actually hooked up even to a good end or nothing. But that one is plugged into Q3. And then what I've got here are these last 3. And those are the 3 that are all tied together here. And as you can see, I've got 3 separated. Now what I did with these, what I do with really all my talons, is just that when they come from the factory, they are very tight. So like the end of the plastic casing is snipped off there. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit and see if we can see that. What I do is I just take a razor blade and slice it and then just pull it apart. So that just gives me extra room to work. So I've got 3 individual talons. So you could have, like for example, 3 different tubes, cakes, whatever. And all you got to do with the talon, it doesn't matter which way they're connected. Neither side is marked with a black line, positive, negative, anything like that. So you can just take them as long as they're all separated. Take them, twist them together, twist that one together. So now we've got all 3 just tied together. Let's get that better. And this is real fine. So there we go. And we'll go out here. I'll get those. So these 3 then will all be plugged into, well, I'll just go into Q6 just to give it some room so you can see. Just give it a good squeeze together there. So I've got 1, 2, which is a dead one, just to show you what it looks like with no connectivity on it. And then these 3. What I'm going to do is go ahead and just turn the firing system on, and that's just going to give me like a continuity test. What's going to happen is if everything is hooked up and all these talons are good, then the light is not going to be on that specific queue. I'm going to shut this light off so you can see a little bit better. So as you can see on my firing system here, I only have 4 red lights. So starting at the left, which is numbered 1, and that's the talon on the number 1 queue. So that one is hooked up proper, got continuity to it and everything. We're good to go there. The dead one that is hooked into queue number 3 is still lit up. It still has an indicator light on it. So that just means there's no continuity to it, obviously, because I have the head snipped off of it. But that would be just an indicator of a bad talon. Maybe it broke when you were squeezing it onto the fuse, what have you. So that would be something that you would need to replace, otherwise it's not going to fire. 4 and 5, there's nothing hooked onto it. And then queue number 6 is all 3 of the talons. So I'll grab my remote here and I'll show you what it looks like. Flip my remote on. So if you were doing, it would probably work really well for a finale, where maybe you hit, you know, cue number 1, and that fires for maybe a cake, what have you. And then as a finale, you know, cue number 2, nothing on it. Cue number 3, which happens to be the dead one. Uh-oh, now I don't have anything firing. What's going on? 4, 5, and then 6. So now we've got all 3 fuses lit, everything running at once, all 3 cues, everything that's hooked into all 3 of those, just firing all at the same time. So that's what it means to be just basically hooking up 3 talons in parallel, just hooking 3 talons the same way, all into the same cue. Now, one of the things about having these talons wired parallel is once you get everything hooked onto the tubes or whatever you're going to have them hooked onto, you're still going to want to do the continuity test individually. So in other words, you know, hooking this one just into Q1, hooking this one to Q2, and then go ahead and kicking it on and making sure the lights all go out, just so you know each individual talon is hooked up, has continuity to it, you know, and is hooked up properly. From that point, then you can go ahead, get them together, twist them, and then hook them into the specific cue that you want all of them on. And just as an example, because what's going to happen is, since you have multiple talons hooked in, then you're still going to get continuity through one, but maybe not all 3, because these at least on this specific system, this one isn't you know, fancy enough to be able to test continuity on everything. So if I go ahead and kick, get them all 3 on. Now what I've got here is the two good ones, and then I've got the one that I have the head snipped off of, and I'll just show you. So if we just connected these all together, connected them to the finale, twisted them up, plugged them into Q6, turn it on, then it is still going to show you that it has continuity through everything. But obviously, since we have the head snipped off of one, then it's not going to work. So you're going to fire it, and you know that third one isn't going to work, or the second one, whatever, and it's not going to work for you. So make sure you have everything separated, test the continuity individually, and then get them twisted together that way. Like I said, shooting residential, I don't know if I could really do that. I have to fire everything independently. Having one cake, one tube shoot, one after another. So I'm going to go ahead and invest in a 32Q system, and have that specifically for my cakes, and then have these for the racks that I have. With the fancier systems, you can actually have 4 talons altogether, but on these specific systems, you can only have 3. It only supports 3. And keep in mind that the more you have on there, the more batteries you're using each time you fire. So, you know, if you have 3 paralleled on all 6 cues, you're going to burn through your batteries faster, and that may run into a problem if you run into a long show doing it that way. So, but the larger systems can do 4 at a time. I'm just going to mainly keep mine all independent. That way I just have more control over my show. So, thanks for watching.